on this show, we love to stand up and cheer when local faces land it big. And Tara Bench, she is someone to cheer about. A talented food stylist and lifestyle expert, she has worked for all of the big names. So we're talking Martha Stewart, Ladies Home Journal. Most recently, her food creations have turned into cover art for one of the biggest magazines in the business, that of course, Good Housekeeping. Now, this is a legacy brand, a loved publication. So when I got invited behind the scenes of Good Housekeeping in New York City to see just how Tara's pretty food pictures end up in the pages of that popular magazine, well, I jumped at the chance.
My name is Tara Bench, and I'm a lifestyle expert and food stylist. I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've lived all over, and now I'm in New York. As a food stylist, I am hired by different companies, magazines, books, to style food for photography. So I make the recipes, and I make them look good for pictures.
All right.
I love cooking and being creative. Yes, I've used Crisco for ice cream, and glue for milk. For magazines and editorial and cookbooks, usually it's just the real food and just the skill of the food stylist that makes it look good. Thank you. Today we are creating the imagery for a story for Good Housekeeping. It's for their December issue, so it's holiday, it's special. I'm doing the food styling, and we have a whole crew here. Today on the set we have Kate Geiger, and she is the editorial stylist. So she actually wears a lot of hats. She is the prop stylist for us today, but she's also an editor, and so she creates content for the magazine and does a lot for the home department. Miguel Rivera is the deputy art director, and he's the one that decides what this content is going to look like in the magazine. He also directs the photo shoot and decides where things on set should be placed so that it will look perfect on the page. All right, should we look at that? Mike Garten is the photographer, and he's on staff at Hearst. So he shoots for Good Housekeeping, but he also shoots for a lot of other Hearst magazines. So you'll see his name all over.
My first lasagna that
Susan Westmoreland is the food director of Good Housekeeping, and she runs this kitchen. She is over anything food in the magazine. Susan Wacharanan is my food styling assistant. Ooh, I think this looks nice though. You need 2 sets of hands when you're doing all of this prep. Today, we are doing the main dishes of the story. We're doing a few roasts, we're doing some vegetable side dishes, and it's a big cooking day. The thing that's tricky about the dishes today is they take a long time. You cook the food as the recipe says, so we have to roast the meat for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and so there's a lot of prep that goes into that, and then a bit of waiting. You're pretty, Turkey.
Just by laying down the bases and photographing it.
So this board tells us a little bit about what we'll see in the magazine. They've laid it out with fake pictures, with stand-in pictures, in hopes that our images look like what they've envisioned. Time is of the essence at a shoot because you only have that day and a certain amount of hours of daylight that you can shoot the food and make it look really good. If you have 2 roasts and a couple of side dishes and some caramelized onions, you take a lot of time, so you have to really plan out every hour and every shot and how long it takes and when you're going to shoot it. Everything matters. So one thing that didn't go as planned was my onions got overcooked. I mean, it takes half an hour or more to caramelize the onions, let alone the chopping of the onions, and we had a lot to do. So number 1, I didn't have enough onions to redo them, and number 2, I didn't have enough time. So I had to make it work with what I had. I had to pick through them a little bit and find the beautiful ones and sort of nestle them and use my tweezers and put them on the food just perfectly so they would work out. There has been an evolution in food styling. You'll see juicy meat juices dripping onto a plate rather than having sopped it up with a Q-tip or a paper towel. You'll see a lot more crumbs, you'll see drippy icing, you'll see scattered peas and food on the plate rather than a perfect pile of food. So those are the kind of stylistic things that have made food styling a little different and more approachable. At the end of the day, the most rewarding thing about my food styling job is seeing things in print, seeing things on a billboard, seeing things in a book. I love to see my work shared. And so whether it's on a website or in a magazine, I love that I get to share that with more people than just my sphere. It makes me happy.
It makes me happy to work with a talent like Tara Bench. She really is amazing. In fact, Susan Westmoreland, the food director there at Good Housekeeping, called her a rare gem. She said a lot of food stylists specialize in pretty desserts or robust meats and side dishes. Tara can do both. And in addition to being talented, she's just a pure delight to work with. So a big thanks to Tara and to the staff at Good Housekeeping. We're going to hang around the Good Housekeeping offices for one more day. Tomorrow on Studio 5, you know the name, you've seen the seal. So what exactly happens behind the doors of the Good Housekeeping Institute? I have to say, I was shocked to see so many white lab coats running around. We're going to take you through their product testing process, show you what goes into naming the best blow dryer, for example, or the best face cream, or the best pair of yoga pants. That is tomorrow here on Studio 5.